Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? Now, in this video, we are about to really get into some things, okay? We are going to talk about soul food and we're going to talk about the villain. Now, before I did a video on soul food, but I really didn't talk about the villain of soul food. I just talked about Bird and how I felt like she needed to be with Samuel. If you have not seen that video, I advise that you go check out that video because I did a really good job in just explaining, from my opinion, who I felt like Bird would have been better with. And I felt like it was Samuel, but watch that video, let me know. But in this video, I am going to talk about the villain of soul food, okay? This is for real. This is the real. We have to get into all of that, okay? So let's talk, okay? Okay. I've been thinking about soul food, right? And I know y'all love Big Mama, and I get it. The family dinners, the wisdom, the sweet potato pies, you know what I'm saying? And let's keep it real. I think Big Mama was the villain, okay? I'm just going to just get to it, okay? Let's keep it real. She was the villain, like the actual villain, okay? And hear me out. Like, because when you really break this movie down and the dysfunction in that family starts and ends and just thinking about it all together, it starts and it really ends with her, okay? It's just Big Mama is the problem. Now, let's get into it, okay? And I just have to keep it real. Let's start with the house. Big Mama and her husband bought the house together. And yes, when her health declined and the bills started like piling up, who was paying all the bill? Who was paying for everything? Let's talk about that. Terry, okay? Terry, the oldest daughter, the one who went to school, became a lawyer and made something out of herself. Terry was the one keeping the house afloat, keeping everything together.
How we can pay for Mama's bills is by selling the big house. What? We are not selling the house. Mama and Daddy saved their whole life for that house, Terry. We can't even agree on anything as small as Sunday dinners. Nobody's paying for the taxes or the utilities except me. And now we can finally put Uncle Pete in a home like we've been talking about for years. We are not putting Uncle Pete in a home. Mama would kill us. You are tripping. I'm selling the house. You're not selling the house. I am the guardian of her estate. That means I make the decisions.
Come on now, Terry, listen to what they're saying, all right? Your mama worked hard to keep that house in the family for everyone.
So when she said she wanted to sell that house, she wasn't, being cold or selfish. She was kind of being realistic, you know what I'm saying? That house was literally draining her dry. And instead of supporting her, the whole family turned around on her. But why? Because Big Mama made it seem like, oh, the house was some, sacred ground or, even meant like it was just so important. She just made it seem like it was just like the last thing she had. Like, even if it meant Terry, was drowning to save it. Like, Big Mama did not care how keeping that house was affecting her daughter, She put all the weight on Terry, and that was just so unfair. Another reason I say Big Mama's the villain is because Big Mama used Terry. She understood that Terry loved her, and she used that to her benefit, in my humble opinion, Like, she leaned on her money for stability and then let the rest of the family treat her like the bad guy when she said that she was tired of it, Basically, because remember, Bird was counting on her. She gave Bird the money for the shop, paid for the dang wedding, Bird's wedding, And it just wasn't enough and it just wasn't fair. Everybody just kept on taking and taking and taking just because they could. Like, she let Terry get disrespected, left and like just did not hold the other girls as accountable. Like when she brought up Cousin Faith, and like she brought Cousin Faith into her home, right? Not even brought Cousin Faith into her home, knowing good well Faith was messy, impulsive. And what happened? Faith ended up sleeping with Terry's husband in Terry's house after Big Mama co-signed her staying there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But I have an audition coming up. I'm just not into the straight job thing. Straight job thing? Look, I didn't plan on staying here. I thought I was going to be at Mama Joe's. If you want me to leave, I'll leave. Why'd you come back here, Faith? What are you going to do this time? Run up Mama's credit? Or, make her co-sign on a car, and then you leave her with the note. Or, no, better yet, why don't you get arrested again and let Mama put up the house to post your bail? I've changed. You changed? Don't you try to start any shit this time. You hear me?
And remember the story about Cousin Faith? Oh, Mama had to put up the house to post her bail, After Terry been paying the house bills and doing all of that, she just was willing to put the house up to save cousin Faith, you know? Big Mama didn't think about how things were affecting her oldest daughter. She just felt like she could take it. She got it. Like, just treated her just because she had some consistent money coming in, used her and treated her like she was obligated to take care of her just because that was her daughter. That was just insane, okay? And let's talk about cousin Faith. Like, Big Mama really put the whole family on the line for her. Like, Faith was her sister's daughter, yes, and not her daughter. Faith was not her daughter, not like her own child, you know? But you would have never thought Faith was like not her child. You would think that Faith was her baby the way she made everybody responsible for her, you know? She knew Faith had a history of being unstable, yet still let her come around, stir the pot. And for me, that's not love, okay? That's enabling. And I just think that that's like some crazy stuff from Big Mama, you know? And it's the same pattern she had with her actual daughters, always stirring the pot, creating drama. So maybe that's probably why she liked Cousin Faith, because she saw a little bit of herself in her. I don't know. But Big Mama definitely was the villain, okay? Like, look how Big Mama influenced all three of her daughters. Bird married Lim, you know, who had just got out of prison, had no job, no plan. And guess where they ended up living? In Big Mama's house. You know, a house she wasn't even paying for. She let her daughter and her felon husband move into a place that just wasn't hers to offer, you know? And Terry had to eat that. Like, Terry had to just take it all on the chin, and all in the name of saving and protecting and taking care of Big Mama, or being, you know, respectful. This is giving Braxton family values. Check out that video. I did a video on that. It gets like that, for real, you know? There's this whole thing about Maxine. Now, let's talk about it. Okay, then there is Maxine, the favorite. Yep, I always said Maxine was Big Mama's favorite. Let's be honest. Maxine was Big Mama's mini-me, you know. She dropped out of college at 19 after getting pregnant by her, you know, her sister's man, you know. And that's just insane. Even that, you know, everybody could just take from Terry. Everybody just had to just take from Terry. But we gonna keep talking. She got, you know, married and pregnant by her sister's man. And yes, you heard me, y'all. She was married to the man she knew her sister Terry had been with. And Big Mama said nothing. That silence gave Maxine permission. It said, you can do your sister dirty and I'll still have your back. That's why Maxine walked around like she was the glue holding the family together, when really she was part of the damage. And like, back to Terry, because I think we gotta like keep talking about Terry. She was the only one who got no grace. She was the one Big Mama depended on the most, but also the one she allowed to be isolated, disrespected, and unprotected.
Out. I'm so sorry. Get out! And get the fuck out!
And y'all remember when they was in the kitchen, that kitchen scene, talking about some, oh, don't run off your family. You're already on husband number 4 or number 3. Child, I don't know the numbers, but she was getting on her like, oh, don't run off your family. You already on your 2nd or 3rd husband, you know, trying to take jabs at her, when you know this girl taking care of the whole house, the whole family. She's the reason the family's standing tall. If anything, she the glue that's sticking everybody together. Everybody going to her for financial bearings. But somehow, some way, they were saying Maxine, because, you know, she had the family and everything. And so because she had that, she was just the one, you know, the Big Mama's favorite, the one to keep the family together. You know, even her son Ahmad was also trying to keep the family together. You know, everything attached to Maxine was just so peaceful and so graceful, and, you know, just with blessed, and, you know what I'm saying, had Big Mama's blessing on it, when Terry really deserved it, because she, you know, put up with a lot and dealt with a lot, all of the strength of, you know, keeping her mama happy and keeping her mama, you know, legacy alive and keeping her mama safe. She got sick of it at the end, because you're not gonna sleep with my man and then I'm gonna just keep taking care of everybody and everybody gonna keep using me. You get sick of that mess. Now let's talk about Ahmad, okay? Maxine's son, you know, the one Big Mama had, you know, wrapped around her finger. Ahmad was a child, and Big Mama was constantly putting pressure on him to fix the family.
There isn't any money. I made it all up. It's not my fault. It's all y'all's fault. Y'all messed up the family. Can't you see that? Big Mama wanted me to get everyone together for a Sunday dinner, but I didn't know how to do that, because all y'all do is fight. So I lied about the money so you come, so we can be a family again. Y'all know that's what Big Mama wanted.
That's not a kid's responsibility. But because he was her favorite grandbaby, she gave him all this emotional weight to carry. Like, Ahmad, bring the family back together. Like he was Moses, parting the Red Sea or something. Come on now.
Oh, sweet pea, I'm gonna be just fine. Just need you to be strong. That's why I'm doing this for you. So we gonna be strong together, okay? Okay?
This ain't fair if you ask me. She had 3 grown daughters who couldn't even sit at a table without beefing, and she wanted Ahmad to be the savior. It's definitely giving Braxton family values. I don't care what y'all say. And I truly believe the root of the drama between the sisters was Big Mama. It was Big Mama's favoritism. In her silence, she never held anybody accountable. Not Maxine for stealing Terry's man, not Bird for marrying someone who couldn't even take care of her, and definitely not Cousin Faith. She never stepped in when things got toxic. She just, smiled, cooked Sunday dinners, and hoped it all, go away. And that's not leadership. That's denial. But she was supposed to be the matriarch of the family. And I just did not see that for Big Mama. She was the one stirring up all the drama. Like I said, it's giving Braxton family values, okay, if you ask me. And I'm not saying Big Mama didn't love her family. I'm saying that love without boundaries become control, in my humble opinion. Love without boundaries become control. She made herself the center of the family, to the point that everybody fell apart without her. And that's not legacy, that's dysfunction. A real matriarch prepares the family to thrive after she's gone, not collapse. But what we saw was a woman who built a family that depended on her, while she overlooked trauma, enabled mess, and let Terry carry the weight. And that just wasn't fair, okay? Now, Big Mama was the problem, okay? Big Mama was the matriarch of the Joseph family. It's often, just said that, she was just having this unwavering strength and dedication to her family. However, her life was marked by significant challenges. Notably her husband, chronic gambling addiction, which just destroy the family, and just made them go into financial turmoil. And to keep the family afloat, Big Mama took in laundry and worked, tirelessly, and just embodying the role of just self-sacrificing and caregiver. She sacrificed herself. And just to clean, she's like, I was cleaning behind white folks. I was doing this and doing that. You do what you have to keep the family, even if you stumble trying, all this stuff that didn't work out for her, because Terry wouldn't be taking care of her if it worked out. And I just don't understand that. Terry was the oldest. She became a successful lawyer. Often like, I feel as though she didn't get the appreciation that she deserved. Okay.
You see, in life, we all make some bad choices. My husband was gambling, and yeah, he was bad at it. In fact, we almost lost this house. But I worked on my hands and knees, cleaning up after white folks, taking in laundry. See, you do what you have to do to stay strong. Save the family.
Depreciated, if that was a word, child. She was unappreciated despite her financial contributions to the family. Her role, like, just completely was just not taken seriously. People did not pay attention, and her role mirrors Big Mama, in that she provides for the family but feels isolated and unvalued. Like, maybe that self-sacrificing is a little, bit of Big Mama. Each one of the girls had a piece of Big Mama that they was carrying with them. And I want to talk about Maxine. Maxine, the middle child. Remember, I just spoke about her. Maxine, she just assumed the role of the peacemaker, just striving to maintain family traditions and unity, like much like Big Mama did, through Sunday dinners, And Bird, the youngest, sought independence by opening her own salon, but struggled with her husband's inability to just find stable employment, echoing the financial instability Big Mama faced, So each girl kind of dealt with or had some sort of influenced by Big Mama in one way or another. Big Mama's decision to take in her niece Faith after her sister's death further, just exemplifies her, tendency to prioritize family obligations over personal well-being. This act, while noble, and I would say just kind and just it was meant to be well, like the intentions was good, it placed additional strain on her resources and set, just a lot of negativity into effect.
Fuck the family! The family out of the family in my house. You know what? The family fucked my husband. Yeah, Faith fucked my husband.
Can we talk about
Can
this?
we talk about what? Fuck you!
Honestly, for her daughters to shoulder family responsibilities sometimes at the expense of their own needs.
I felt that Terry and Miles could pay for everything, and then maybe we could pay you all back in installments or something. Don't you start running that game on me again.
It just was not okay, and that's not how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to take on family as it hurts you. That's not like the message we should be sending out. More so, Big Mama's health issues, particularly her, unmanaged diabetes, highlights a neglect of self-care. Her refusal to prioritize her health, ultimately led to her hospitalization and death, and it just gets worse, just a bunch of dangers and self-neglect that was going on with Big Mama. And in essence, Big Mama's life, while filled with acts of love and sacrifice, also, perpetuates a cycle where her daughters felt compelled to just ultimately selflessness, often to their own detriment. This legacy, although it was rooted in strength, inadvertently, fosters patterns of self-sacrifice and emotional suppression within the family, in my humble opinion. Big Mama might have been the heart of the family, but she was also the source of the drama. She was the reason Terry snapped. She was the reason Faith was around. She was the reason Ahmad, had the burden. And deep down, she was the reason this perfect family was one Sunday dinner away from breaking all the way apart, in my humble opinion.
I loaned her money, Max. As far as you're concerned, I'm an ATM. Automatically Terry's money.
Those Sunday dinners was not solving anything. They really needed therapy. It should have been Sunday therapy sessions or something. I don't know. But that just wasn't enough. Although her intentions was good, like she loved her family, she just did not have good coping skills and did not teach her daughters to have good coping skills and put too much on Terry's plate. And that just wasn't fair, just was not fair, in my humble opinion. But I want you guys to let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if you think I'm being fair as far as what I'm saying. And I love you guys to pieces, and bye-bye.
Terry, stop running down your family. Pay more attention to your own man. You're already on husband number 2.